Robin, we need to talk. Okay. Alfred found this underneath your bed.
Well,
Who are you getting it from?
Well, I mean...
Why are you doing it?
Well, I mean, you know...
Why did you say that name?
What?
Who taught you to do this?
You, alright? I learned it by watching you!
Parents who play with Swamp Thing have children who play with Swamp Thing.
Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today, we're taking a look at the Defender of the Green, the DC Multiverse Swamp Thing Megafig. Starting off the packaging, and we have the gargantuan Megafig box. Here's a regular box for scale. Flipping it around, and we can again see it's quite a difference. As we can see, this one's based on DC Rebirth, and on the back, we get a pretty decent product shot. Other available figures down here, and for those who want it, here's the UPC. For packaging, I'm giving Swamp Thing whole point. Moving on to presentation, and Swamp Thing stands at 11¼ inches. Indubitably, this is a very impressive sculpt. From the top, and the first thing that jumps out at me are the deep-set nostrils. They really did a good job on that. I also really love how the bright red eyes pop. They also did a very good job on the teeth. In general, the level of textures and fine detail is just absolutely next level. You got the fronds and the vines and the moss underneath, some sections that look like driftwood. These are actually a softer plastic, so they don't get in the way of articulation. And on that subject, they did a great job of integrating the joints into the sculpt. His hands are claw-like, but you can see the shape of the bones underneath, and the feet are really craggy and monster-like. He's got some vines dangling on him, which is a pretty cool touch, and more of those textures and details in the leg. Flipping him around, and I love this patch of leaves. Got some bulbs under the arm. More of that in the back of the calf. Lots of detail on the swamp butt. On that subject, the diaper definitely sticks out a bit far. Another thing I really like is the color palette. The greens they used are very muted and drab. You might even say dank. The nice thing about the Rebirth Swamp Thing is that he's pretty much just Swamp Thing. And the nice thing about this figure in particular is all the incredible detail. I'm pretty sure you could look at it for hours and still find something new to appreciate. For presentation, I'm giving Swamp Thing whole point. Moving on to posability, and it's time to talk about joints. They're really well integrated into the sculpt. From the top, and his head's on a dumbbell joint, he can look up this far and down this far. Pretty decent tilt, and although it's a bit crunchy, all the way around. Swivel hinge shoulders raise up over 90 degrees. Again, the shoulder pieces are nice and soft and attached to the biceps so they don't get in the way. On that subject, he also has bicep swivel. He also has the McFarlane rotator cuff, allowing for forward and back. Unfortunately, he only has a single jointed elbow. At the very least, it does get 90 degrees, and also swivels. And then moving all the way down the arm, and Swamp Thing has a swivel hinge wrist. They can hinge up this far and down this far. Shifting to the torso, and Swamp Thing has a diaphragm joint and a dumbbell waist. Again, all this foliage does a really great job of hiding the joints. Using both together, and he can arch back this far and hunch over, That said, he does get a bit of tilt and twist. Below the waist, and Swamp Thing has the typical McFarlane hips. They can kick out this far and split that far. He's got a pretty good amount of twist, double jointed knees, toe articulation. Again, the seam is practically invisible. And McFarlane ankle balls you can roll, hinge, and pivot. One minor source of frustration for me is the right leg. All the joints are really loose on that side, including the toe articulation and ankles. As a result, I've been having a very hard time getting him to stand. Just a little something we'd be smart to pay attention to. With the exception of the single jointed elbows, this figure is every bit as posable as its smaller DC Multiverse counterparts. And honestly, for a sculpt this big and nice, it isn't that much of a trade-off. Again, the leg joints on mine are a bit loose, but that doesn't necessarily mean yours will be. For posability, I'm giving Swamp Thing whole point. Before we continue, just a quick reminder that we're currently giving away a Titan Joker Megafig to one lucky subscriber. We're also giving away Robin from Infinite Frontier. For more information, check out those videos at the end of this one. Moving on to playability, and Swamp Thing comes with a trading card and a figure stand. Pause here if you want to read it. He also comes with his cruciferous claw. You just pop the hand off and peg it in like so. Considering I'm used to not getting any accessories with a Megafig, and this is a pretty nice touch. Also, you can use it for either one of his hands. But playability is more than just accessories, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. For some Batman comparisons, here we have Rebirth, here we have 3 Jokers, and here we have Battle Damaged. For some Superman comparisons, here we have Action Comics 1000, here we have Rebirth. For my most recent Superman review, here we have the Solar Suit, and for my next Superman review, here we have Deceased. And on the subject of DC Essentials, here we have the Flash, but for another Flash, here's DC Multiverse. For Wonder Woman, here we have the New 52 by DC Collectibles, here we have Wonder Woman from The Last Night on Earth, and here we have Wonder Woman designed by Todd McFarlane. Here we have Zatanna by DC Collectibles, and here we have Etrigan from DC Multiverse. Sorry that it's not open, but I decided not to keep this one. For another plant-based DC character, here we have Poison Ivy. This one is by DC Direct. Also by DC Direct is this Hush version of Poison Ivy. Really floppy knee on her. Lastly, here's a custom Poison Ivy I made using Marvel Legends parts. Since I have him handy, here he is with the Infinite Frontier Robin. For some larger scale comparisons, here he is with Clayface, here he is with Darkseid, here he is with King Shark, and here he is with the Titan Joker. For just a general household item, here he is with some marinara. For a relative scale comparison, here he is with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And of course, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. Swamp Thing is a wonderful character who can stand alone or mix and match with other DC heroes. The alternate claw, while not entirely necessary, is a very nice addition. For playability, I'm giving Swamp Thing whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. Swamp Thing retails for $39.99, but buyer beware. As you might already know, a lot of people who ordered it online have been getting the unpainted one by mistake. Not only that, but a lot of retailers have chosen to not make it good. A big part of the problem is that the unpainted ones have the same SKU as the regular one. McFarlane Toys, if you're watching, be a bud, and please don't do it this way in the future. That frustration aside, if you see him, don't be a dope. Pick him up and add him to your collection. For price, I'm giving Swamp Thing 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. To check out the Titan Joker video, click here, or for the Robin verses, click here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.